there was that mass shooting in Greenwood at the Greenwood Park Mall, and a citizen who should not have had his gun in the mall because it's a gun-free zone saved the day by taking the guy out. Originally, they said in the first 2 minutes, but the video said in 15 seconds, he stopped the guy.
And that right there. And when you start moving towards the world of just like Meta in the Internet 3.0, when you can shop 3D because the camera will take a picture of your 3D image and it'll show the garment in 3D. And when you're at a point where you can literally try things on, like what's going to be the point of the mall? It's not. Testosterone levels worldwide are decreasing, which is in fact sex drive to men. I can totally see how it's going to lead to less sex. With the age of the internet and the phone, more masturbation, which is going to be an individual thing that is not creating children.
Well, hell, you can buy machines that hook in like via Bluetooth, and you can sit here and rub one out with somebody all the way across the country.
Exactly, but there's no babies that are going to be coming out of it.
Right.
You can get a massage.
and we are back with another episode of The Julius Files. I am your host, Jason Julius, and today we are doing an off the rails, and we have Trish with us, so she always brings a really good off the rails, but we cannot forget Master Blaster, Matt Bradshaw.
That's not it. I let you.
Snap.
No,
you did it. I had them both. I had them both set.
Cut.
I had them both set.
Cut.
There's no cut. There's no. I had them both set to off the rails, and you can check the camera. You got messing with this because it was set.
That is the timer, which does not control TVs.
Oh my Lord.
Come at the CTO like that about technology. What
That's great.
the fuck is going on here? Now I feel like I'm on the right podcast.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I could have rolled with it and been like, no, my perspective matters, even in off the rails. Damn it.
Hell. All right.
We're professionals.
Okay, a little bit of technical difficulty, but we are back at it. So yes, off the rails, and I have a full crew with me today. We've got Trish and Matt and Tori, and I'm rolled with it like that because we got to find a nickname for Tori, but
That's going to be my mission.
that's what I mean. It could
So
really.
when we come back on Tuesday, I will have a good nickname for you.
I mean,
I got you.
How good of a nickname?
I mean, I'm a galactic demigod, so I'm sure
we came up with
something.
You came up with some really creative stuff for that concrete company, so I'm surely we can come up with something good for good for Tori. Okay, so does everybody have their headline to bring to the table today?
I have a topic, but not a specific headline.
Okay, so well then Matt, we'll just go with you. What's your?
I'm gonna start it. Well,
yes. What's your topic?
What is today's date? Today is Thursday, July 21st. So it was now 5 days ago. There was that mass shooting in Greenwood at the Greenwood Park Mall, and a citizen who should not have had his gun in the mall because it's a gun-free zone saved the day by taking the guy out. Originally, they said in the first 2 minutes, but the video said in 15 seconds, he stopped the guy.
And that right there. But I mean, okay, so what was the carnage? What was the destruction?
4 dead, including the gunman, 2 people injured.
So within 15 seconds, 5 people were killed or injured before the marksman took him out.
Yeah, that was the other thing. From 40 yards. Shot 10 shots, hit him 8 times from 40 yards with a handgun.
That's
and he's
solid.
only 22 years old.
No training.
Really solid.
No training.
No training whatsoever.
Wow. I hate to be like this because I know somebody else would be like this. Like, where'd the other 2 bullets go?
To the bathroom wall.
Okay, because I'm like
it was still
10. I mean, 22 years old. That might be and I'm not trying to be a shit because I am a proponent of, but like 10 shots by a 22-year-old inside of a mall. That might have been just a little bit excessive. I mean, that's.
But hitting your target 8 times?
No. I don't want to take that away. And again, look, my take on this, and it'll piss some people off. It doesn't matter what you do. You have to take the good with the bad. And I do not agree with chipping away at all in the slightest with our Second Amendment rights, because if you got what the left wanted out of it, they would take away all of your rights. So if you start letting them chip away at it, eventually it will be another and another before they do take away all of your rights. And if you take away all of the guns in America, then let's just say whether internally, I'm looking for those proper words, internally or externally, we are not able to defend ourselves. So an armed society is a society that is not going to be taken over internally or externally. And what are you going to get out of that? Well, people are going to die needlessly from people pulling that trigger. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. If you take the gun away, well, then you're going to have it with other forms of death construction. But the point being, taking our guns away from us it's a sacred Second Amendment right. And you got to take the good with the bad. You don't want to chip away at that right, because it's no different than the First Amendment. You don't want to chip away. And just because we have a sensitive society that doesn't want to be offended anymore, that does not give you a right to chip away at our First Amendment right. It means you take the good with the bad, because in the overarching, it is better to have your First and Second Amendment. That is supposed to be part of, quote unquote, living in a free country.
The other awesome part is he was carrying, because of that constitutional carry that we just passed went into effect July 1st.
Oh.
So it only took 17 days for that to significantly play out in a positive way.
Well, but the thing is I'm sitting there going, we're in Indiana, so you're going to say that it played out in a positive way. And I'm not going to sit here and disagree with you, but I'm promising you, in some news networks, this has been spun and played out in a negative way.
Actually, the liberal news was actually pretty supportive of it, but there are definitely people who are pissed that he carried a gun in a gun-free zone.
Simon Mall is
Yeah,
pissed.
yeah, they banned him. Like, he's lifetime banned from all
You
Simon
saved
Malls.
the fucking mall, and they're going to ban
It doesn't
you?
matter, and I hate that, because I'm not trying to pick a fight with Simon Malls, but sooner or later they're going to be dead, and all that stuff's
Yeah.
going to be turned into an Amazon warehouse anyway. So it doesn't matter.
Or paintball zone. I always thought it'd be cool at the mall.
I mean, don't get me wrong. What if you turned it into, one of them could be an axe throwing store, and the other one be a destruction store, and I mean, I guess there are going to be.
can the whole mall be a
there will be
destruction store?
ways to repurpose malls, but that's not my point. The point is, malls they're dying just out of,
Amazon, Walmart.
Yeah, and when you start moving towards the world of, just like Meta in the Internet 3.0, when you can shop 3D, because the camera will take a picture of your 3D image and it'll show the garment in 3D, and when you're at a point where you can literally try things on, like, what's going to be the point of the mall? It's not that when you have a virtual, here, put your foot in this, we're going to measure your feet virtually. Well, what's going to be the point? Especially with, they make it so easy to return things, that I just think malls are, they're seeing their last gasp of air. But over time, the same way Amazon is taking over and killing everything else.
You know
I
what
think
did the
malls
malls
are next.
in? Is when they took out the arcades.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. One of my favorite memories as a child was in Bloomington, and was it called Moonwalk or something? I don't know. Arcades was one of my childhood memories that, they've since bygone era. Why? Because of these lovely phones. Okay. Does anybody else have anything that they would like to chime in with this topic or this subject that Matt actually brought up?
Tori wants a gun.
Yeah, Tori wants a gun.
Tori will end up getting a gun. I'm a big proponent of it. I mean, we just need to make sure, about like Rebecca, there are easy slide guns, lower
A
caliber.
revolver.
What's that?
We're getting a revolver for Tori.
So you need a 38 then. That's, yeah, okay. No, that's about right. I mean, ain't no point getting a 22, because if you actually have to pull the trigger, you want to make sure it stops somebody. But yeah, she's already done enough research into this.
We've taught her.
Okay, well, with that, then let's just move it to Miss Tori. What do you have a headline for us, or do you have a topic? But I mean,
We'll go topic. That way, if I misquoted, it's not as bad, right?
Well, you know what? It's kind of my podcast, so we can pretty much say whatever the hell we want to say. So.
It's off the rails. So
Yeah, so we always try to bring in my man Elon. So
oh.
I have the Elon headline of the day.
Oh, shit, I done moved it back.
They better say you can go with it because I'm sitting there going.
While you're thinking about it, Elon, if you need me to go in outer space, I'm still here and available.
Always here and available. I think it was saying that Elon said that we're going to be underpopulated for a while, but the UK said that by 2100 that we were going to be massively overpopulated. So it's just kind of like two powerful opinions going against each other.
I disagree. I mean, and I agree with Elon. Well, unless he's saying somehow it's going to reverse that because the UK's wrong. The UK's
just
wrong
because it's the UK, or like you guys?
No, they're wrong.
That we're going to be overpopulated.
Because we're going to be overpopulated.
I mean, Roe versus Wade, they just the whole abortion
and I
thing.
don't. No. I don't know.
Oh, we can come back to that.
I mean, and honestly, I might be going down a rabbit hole that goes another direction. But we are in order to, that's like where China, where you can only have one boy. You have that cluster of people right there. But when you look at the other societies in the world, the amount of people dying versus the amount of people being born, there's more people dying than being born because, I mean, back in the olden days, it was women would stay home and make babies, and that's how the population grew. Now, with equal rights, both sides are going out, and they are both working.
That's
and
only for white people, though.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, white people is the only one decreasing. Everybody else is.
Okay, well, now I am going to go off the rails because I have another theory to all of this that I'm sure will actually piss some people off. It like legitimately, statistically, testosterone levels in this world have been on an ever decline. And so with the decrease of testosterone is the decrease of sex drive and actual manhood that actually goes out and creates babies. So I would totally buy into we're not going to end up overpopulated because with all this BS about a toxic masculinity and the simple fact that testosterone levels worldwide are decreasing, which is in fact sex drive to men, I can totally see how it's going to lead to less sex. With the age of the internet and the phone, more masturbation, which is going to be an individual thing that is not creating children.
Well, hell, you can buy machines that hook in like via Bluetooth, and you can sit here and rub one out with somebody all the way across the country.
Exactly, but there's no babies
Or-
that are going to be coming out of it.
Right.
You can get a massage.
About every week? Is that
That's
about how
not
it
fair.
goes?
That's
About every
not
week?
because
That's
that was
what
a
keeps it
crack
healthy.
at me, but it's not that kind of massage.
Why do you take it personal? I was
I'm
talking
not-
about Robert Kraft. Like I wanted to see his video of him going into this little fucking
Oh my Lord.
Floridian
Okay.
sex shop.
All right, we'll go with that.
But he threw enough money around and then they burned the tapes.
I still stand by. I think that our society is degrading to a point that I could very well see that we're not going to end up overpopulated because there's not enough real men actually growing up in this world to that's going to be an issue, and that's just a personal opinion based on what I see in society and the legitimate fact that the testosterone levels in the world are on decline and have been on decline for a while. But
Money's also a factor.
Oh, facts.
no, money has nothing to do with having sex.
Yes, it does.
No, but
Yes, it does.
but in the 40s or 50s, you could have 6 kids and the dad's the only one working, the
Right.
mom's
Yeah.
staying at home, and
Same thing
they
with,
would manage to still have a car and a house and go on vacation.
But
and
go
it's
look at
like,
the housing
shit,
market or
you
the
can't
car
do that
market
now. Mm-hmm.
or the children market now. How am I supposed to have a baby? There's not
Oh,
even.
Epstein, calm
There's
down.
not even fucking formula to even feed the baby. Don't forget that. There's no
I
formula.
know. So that's
it's the
fine.
whole
That's
thing.
fine. That's fine.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. It's okay.
Well, and don't get me wrong, because the thing is, I mean, when I had twin boys, and I mean, at that time, it was like I just started my life and a job at Chrysler, and I gauged I'm going to be a 50 to 60K a year person, okay, and when I married Marcia, it came with one, so I'm like 3, that's like for the income that I'm going to make, I'm going to be responsible. So I got myself fixed. I'm not going to deny, had I realized that I was going to kind of change gears and potentially make more money in
Fucking party
life,
foul.
that
We're just doing
I literally might not have gotten myself fixed, but I was trying to be responsible by not having more kids than the income that I had the ability to actually support them. But that's just because
that
I
was
did care. I'm not a deadbeat dad.
So
that
it was
type
a
of thing.
thought.
Huh?
So it
So
was
it was
a
a thought.
Oh, it was a thought for me, totally. Yeah.
yeah. Well, you started this by saying money's definitely not a thought, and I was like, oh, but it is.
Money's not a thought when it comes to having sex.
Yeah.
Right.
But money is definitely a thought when you start pushing out babies.
Well, that's because you always had the
Well, but it's also
to
there's also
make
a
that baby
level
not
of
happen.
Right.
responsibility that I think that I have that I think that might be lacking, and I don't know. I don't even want to focus that at a region of the world, but focus that at individuals. I mean, I think that I might be I'm above average responsible, where I thought about this stuff and was like, I don't want to spend the rest of my life paying for kids. I can support 3 and get them through to their 18. Well, I'm not responsible for them anymore, and then be able to tuck something away for myself. And I thought that I was making a smart decision 2 ways. One, I wanted to have kids young because I didn't want to be just like old and tired when they actually grew up, to be able to have a good relationship with them. And I say that because I told my kids a long time ago, like, I ain't your buddy. That's your mom's racket. That's I was here to be a parent and raise them to be ready to go out into the world and be a productive member of society. And
They
yes,
definitely gave you enough gray hairs.
yes, but I was the disciplinarian because I took it as like legitimate. It's my responsibility to raise my kids to not be fucks,
Yeah.
to literally be productive members of society. So okay.
I think you did pretty good.
I mean, I don't think that I did bad. I know that they are not particularly fond of me, but they are productive members of society. So I can look at myself fine knowing I did my
And
job.
they're healthy.
Yes. That's what, hey, that's what they didn't, that's part of the problem, where I look back at this generation and where the problems are. And so I'm like, it's my generation. Like, my kids don't know nothing about struggle. My kids can talk shit about they had to endure my beginning years of entrepreneurship, but they didn't struggle. They didn't struggle to eat. They always had a place to lay their
Hit
head.
in the face with a rubber dodgeball.
That's what I'm saying. That's what my kids, my generation did not raise kids that know shit about actual struggle, but they're about ready to find out, because we are
you don't
definitely headed into some
understand, 'cause
times.
they were a solid phone by your time.
Yeah.
We all had rubber
You get blasted,
dodgeballs.
that shit hurts.
Like, you don't understand.
And if you're fat, you don't really run as fast as the rest of the
Right.
kids, so you're a target.
Right.
So as soon as they blast your little fat ass in the face, you're done. That's it. Done for the whole day.
The trick was you'd have to know how to knock it up so they could catch it and be like,
Yeah.
you're out.
You.
Well, don't get me wrong. I can also recall falling out of a couple trees too, and I don't see many kids going out and playing and
They don't.
climbing trees anymore either. That's
It's video games, internet, tablets, stuff like that.
You don't, there used to be like a group of kids playing basketball like everywhere,
Yeah.
every driveway.
Bicycles. Everybody riding bicycles
falling off your
everywhere.
bike. Yeah, no, I don't see much of that anymore.
We're going to sore subjects.
I can't.
Okay, Miss Trish.
All right.
This
so
is I mean, the bar is high because you've really she's rubbing her hands. She must have
here's
a
my
really good
thing.
one.
I've been having this whole issue with this whole Roe versus Wade thing, because I feel like as a woman, I'm very pro-choice. This is your body. This is what, you want to do, whether you want to have 15 abortions or whatever, that is on you and your body and whatever you have to do with your life. However, right after this had passed, there was a 10-year-old girl in Ohio who got raped, and she had to come to Indiana to even get an abortion
by her uncle.
by her uncle. Raped by
I mean,
her uncle.
I don't know where the uncle part is significant, but I mean,
Because it's
at
the
10
whole-
years old,
it's
the significance is that we have a 10-year-old being
well,
pregnant.
well,
Correct, but you
problem
also
is,
have
though-
incest on top of that.
Right.
Okay.
Which is another thing where they're saying a lot of those places now, like, since they overturned the abortion, like, you can't get an abortion. You're 10. You got raped by your freaking uncle. Like, come on now.
Okay.
So long story short, our Attorney General Todd Rokita basically
Fuck
said, yeah, please, with a fucking cactus. Basically, we have Dr. Bernard, who did the abortion for the 10-year-old child. And now he's going back on social media blasting her, saying, like, you better hope that you got your, your T's crossed and your I's dotted, because if not, we're coming for you. So
Who did?
Todd Rokita, he was like, we're going
Our
to come
AG.
after you. Yeah. To
Indiana's
make sure
AG.
that you're doing this, because obviously he's against this whole situation. So now she has came back with her attorney, which is Kathleen Delaney. They sent a tort claim notice Tuesday to him seeking unspecified damages for security costs, legal fees, and reputational harm. Not only that, but emotional distress. They say that it triggers a 90-day period for Rokita to investigate or settle the claim. So their statement is, if it's legal in Indiana and we're following all the rules, then why are you harassing us? Mm-hmm. So what's going to end up happening is you have, of course, people who are like him coming after her, who's doing everything. So now she's in the spotlight, not for something that she did positive, but for something that she didn't even do that you're still trying to threaten her about.
Well, but okay, and now all told, now let me put some rational, because that's emotion and that's feeling. I ain't taking nothing away from it. Roe versus Wade turning over was a federal thing that does not do anything to impede on states' rights. Obviously, Indiana is a very conservative state in general. I see both sides of it. And I mean, like, we've all had enough of a conversation where at the end of the day, I end up erring on pro-choice only because, I mean, like, I respect women and your right to choose. But I do see the other side of it too, like that you're taking every bit of say away from the man. And I've long said when it comes to the right to life, like, you should practice what you believe. Here is my problem with all of this. This is where the division comes in when it comes to the left and the right. And this is what makes me sick. And this is why I would never choose a party, because I've long said the Republicans won't stay the fuck out of my bedroom.
Yeah.
And I want you to stay the fuck out of my bedroom. What happens between two grown adults consensually is not your fucking business.
Right.
And Democrats won't stay the fuck out of my pocketbook. That they talk about free life, but they want, whether any which way you want to cut it, they want to control you in every single way. And that's why I have no respect for the far left or the far right, because that neither one of those encompasses or comes anywhere near the word actual freedom and live and let live. So, like, I feel for both sides because I see the argument of both sides. Both arguments are legitimate, and we're supposed to be living in a free country. So nobody wants to respect the other side's opinion and their rights, and battling this out and taking this to a court and being like, you guys are going to decide one way or another. I mean, there's a lot of good things that, I mean, civil rights came out of the courts. I'm not taking anything away from the good that's come out of the Supreme Court. But I was under the impression that when they overturned Roe versus Wade, that they just took it off the table and kicked it back to the states and said, this is not a federal issue. Each state gets to decide.
Correct.
So I agree with that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Because when you bring everything back to, if you don't like the way people live in Indiana, then move the fuck out of Indiana.
But
Yeah.
the issue
Because
on that,
if I don't like a lot of the bullshit that I hear about California, and just like everybody else that has left California, I probably would already fucking left California because I'm not cool with 98% of my money being taxed in one way or another. But that's the point. I'm a big proponent of anything and everything going back to states' rights, so that you can look at a state and decide, this is the society and this is the norm and this is the majority and these are the laws that are being made in this state, and then make your decision about what state you want to live your life according to who you are as an individual and where you fall on these issues.
well, one, that's not as easy to.
It is and it isn't.
Solid.
I mean, I understand everything is more complex, but I've simplified it pretty fucking easy, because you can work in many different industries to pay for the bills and responsibilities you create. And like, if you want to be a pothead, well, then take your ass to Michigan. I mean, like, you have the ability to
But the issue is
relocate
coming
to
is
an
they
area.
get charged with murder from their home state. Like, you can't just go from Texas to Arkansas and get an abortion and come back to Texas. Like,
No, but that's not what I told you. I relocate. Like, you got a problem with the laws that are coming down in your state because the majority of the people feel that way that don't live in that state.
Right,
I'm
but
looking
you can
for the
still go
easiest
to a
answer
state
to
and
satisfy
do
all.
whatever they say is legal and be able to come back home. Like, you can go buy quite a large quantity.
Well,
of
no,
marijuana
but again,
in a
but
lot of
like I
states.
said, then we get back into the. No, you're
Smoke it,
exactly
come
right.
Home, like, you came home with nothing,
I got a
you're
real.
like,
That's why I said I got a real problem with the far right trying to get into my bedroom, because if a woman living in Indiana gets pregnant and she wants to travel to Illinois to get an abortion because they don't do that in Indiana, well, there shouldn't be repercussions when she comes back to Indiana. She didn't perform abortion in Indiana. She didn't pay somebody in the Indiana society to perform what is, again, like, that's what I'm saying. That what they're trying to do is another yet way of clamping down control, and that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, it's supposed to be a free country, and you should live and practice your beliefs and quit fucking trying to impose it on other people. As long as you are not hurting, and that's where I said, and Right to Life is going to be like, no, you are hurting somebody else. And that's where I'm sitting there going, I mean, if a woman responsibly, if you halfway, I don't know exactly what the line is, and I'm not a politician. I ain't got to put myself in the line of it, but I'm like, halfway through the second trimester, if you haven't decided to abort, like, there's just no two ways about it. Once you have a living or a heart beating entity, like, it is not a humane thing to be performing an abortion in the third trimester.
Like partial abortions and things like that. I get it. Mm-hmm. Where, after up until like, I think it's like 20 weeks, 25 weeks or whatever it is, where they're able to go in and they physically go in and like chop up the little baby in there and then they suck it out with this vacuum.
Well, but that's what I was about to say, is because then that's what I said, then you got the left going the other way, where they talk about infanticide, where you could go full term and deliver and they still abort. That's some bullshit. Right. And that's what I was about to say, that's where there's that middle line of common sense, because when you're still talking about an embryo, because that's the point where I really want to support women's rights. Like, you don't have a right to go, oh, I'm pregnant, and then 9 months later go, you know what? Now I want to abort. Like, that's not where.
That's my biggest thing,
not
too.
Not many people go 9.
When my biggest thing is
they
like
shouldn't have a right to go 7. Like, you don't get to extend it forever. Oh, you're pregnant. Dude, female, what? You got about 30, 60 days to make fucking decision.
But to me, it's like, if we're not going to take care of all the kids that are already living in poverty, then even if it's 24 hours and you're like, I don't want to take care of it.
Nah, but that's not. But again, I'm sitting there going, I can't buy into that, Matt. I just don't. I can't buy into that. But the thing is, it's like I don't want to see somebody kicking an animal or being mean to a cat or a dog because I mean, that's like a living, breathing.
But you just said that you were upset that the Democrats take your money to take care of those people.
No, that's not fair. They take the money to waste it on dumb bullshit that doesn't have nothing to do with taking care of people. That is no way to talk about little Timmy. Oh my! I'm all about little Timmy being taken care of. That ain't got nothing to do with all the wasteful ways that government spends money. Yeah. Because it is nothing more than protecting their power and ensuring that their power grows. It doesn't have nothing that.
And their bank accounts.
That's what I'm saying. You could wipe out half of all taxation in this country and shit would still be just fine. You'd probably find some government jobs that would have to be eliminated. But I mean, hey, such is life. I mean, there's a bunch of job security for ridiculousness that goes on, and okay,
everything's fine.
This is going to it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. Okay, so this is a whole nother one where we're it's a societal issue. At least that's where it's going. Warren Buffett wants his entire $96 billion fortune spent within 10 years of his death.
Well, he's still giving it to Bill Gates, right?
I was sticking with the truest form of off the rails. It's just a headline.
I think so.
Bill Gates, he was talking about like donating most of his stuff too because he didn't want to be a billionaire.
Correct. Like they have, I don't know, 10, 12 different foundations and charities that are supposed to
because that's my thing.
All of their billions.
That's the whole point. Is that I'm one of the things that I have an issue with is like the Rockefellers, and I guarantee you that when that money was amassed, whatever their thoughts or feelings about what they would do with that money or what they wanted done with that money, society has changed so much that the people that amassed that money would probably be disagreeing with how that money is being utilized today.
Oh, for sure.
See what I'm saying? So that's what I'm like. I look at that with Warren Buffett and I'm like, this dude has amassed a bunch of wealth. And if he wants it spent in 10 years, likelihood is because he's sitting there going, I did good things and I made prudent decisions to amass this wealth. And I want to make sure that it's spent in a way that I would be okay with how that money is being circulated in society. Not get 100 years down the road, find out that money was parlayed into billions and billions more, and a group of people that he has emphatically opposed against is using money he created to move their platform forward. And that's where I get back into the legacy thing, because generally legacies are built on top of fortunes. But when you start getting 100 years, 200 years down the road, who is in control of that money? And then I go back to Saul in Ocean's 11 when he said, "Fellas, when I die, I want that last check to bounce." Yep. Yep. Because I'm sitting there going, I don't know how much money I'm going to amass or what the size of the wealth is going to be.
But you can't take it with you.
No.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at that going, no, I'm not trying to get 200 years down the road and think that I have certain standards of life that I would be okay with money spent this way and not okay with money spent this way, only to find out that lawyers and people that I'm emphatically opposed to using money that I created towards causes that I don't believe in. And I'll be honest, this is and I mean, they might not want me to talk about them because I know that this is a little bit raw in general, but when I die, I'm liable to give all of my money to the Make-A-Wish Foundation because I think that it is the most righteous organization out there because all they do are grant wishes to terminally ill children. They granted a wish to my son. So I don't know exactly what will happen to all of my money, but I mean, like, that's the kind of stuff that I can totally get behind my money supporting, because there is a lot of things that I'm sorry, I just can't get behind it. And yeah, I would be turning over in my grave to think that the sacrifice and the decisions and the risks that I took to amass that wealth would be used in a manner that would completely go against all of my values. I don't want to deal with that. So I think that it's great to see Warren Buffett leading out like that, because it makes a major statement to me when it comes to my planning in life, because I'll even go right down to, and I'm sorry, this is going to piss some people off. I don't want to set up my money where a little shit stain 5 generations down the road, just because they're in my bloodline, never struggled, never had to earn shit, and all of a sudden I'm paving a golden trail for them. No, I'm not with that. I mean, part of growing up and being a man, part of growing up and being a decent contributing member to society is experiencing a little bit of pain, is actually having to make sacrifices because you don't get everything that you want. And I'm sorry, I'm not, a lot of the people that I've seen like really struggle are like silver spooned. They never had to get out and work for it themselves. And I'm not saying that I would leave my kids nothing, but I am saying I am not trying to leave my kids hundreds of millions or billions of dollars so that they can leave it to their kids and their kids and their kids. And then I've paved a way for spoiled little brats that never actually have to work for anything. I'm like, that's not the life that I was allowed to live. And the values that I have come because of the blood, sweat, and tears and the clawing of climbing up in the world in general. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to just give an easy life to people, because generally what I see out of that easy life, if you never have to work for it, like, you find a way to fuck it up. Yeah. It's like the people that win the lottery. They find a way to find themselves right back in bankruptcy and drug addicts. And generally speaking, it comes so easy to them that they fuck up everything that they touch because they didn't have to actually work for it. And I am a big proponent of, like, work builds character, and you grow things, you develop in life when you become a part of something bigger than yourself. And generally that involves work on some form or other. And I'm not trying to rob the next generation of that character development. You need to get your ass out and work just like everybody else. That's the problem with what's happening in society right now. There are too many people that are able to go do some stupid ass shit on the internet. They didn't work for anything. They're able to monetize it. Now all of a sudden they've got millions of dollars in the bank. Now they're able to go be self-destructive. And then you get people that are like, yeah, I want to do that. That's not good character. And that damn sure is not contributing to society in any meaningful way.
Yeah.
What? Oh. Yeah. No, I mean, that's definitely some off the rails shit, but I don't know that we want to bring that into the.
My boy Warren B, when he was at Geico talking to us, somebody asked him about that because that was about the time where he publicly announced that he was giving all his money to Bill Gates, his foundations, not Bill Gates himself. And he was like, well, why would I start distributing it out now? He was like, I don't know how to do those things. I know how to look at companies and invest in companies. He's like, so me keeping my money and my track record, if I keep growing that money, I'll be able to help more people than if I stop what I'm doing right now and focus on trying to home the homeless and bring medical. He was like, so it makes more sense in my head to keep growing the wealth as long as I possibly can and then turning it over to people that know how to actually distribute.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is that it's what kind of duration of time are you going to think about? Because one, like it is today's that present. Don't be looking backwards and don't be looking too far forwards because you're only guaranteed that you're drawing your breath today. But as long as there's a certain plan involved, because at 80 years old, I'm like, all right, you could spend the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years directing it where you want to go, because at the end of the day, you can put anything on paper that you want. You never know when the laws are going to change. You never know when somebody's going to get a hold of that paper and lawyer it to death. And no, I'm just personal proponent of that. If I'm going to amass the wealth, I want to direct it. I don't want to trust and leave it in the hands of somebody else, because I might trust that individual, but sooner or later they're going to die. And will I trust the next individual? No, probably not. And it ain't no different than these other issues that we're talking about. That's just not what I'm trying to be. I'm trying to keep it real because I'm sitting there going, I don't believe that my kids didn't struggle, but they're not spoiled. But I'm not trying to empower or enable spoiled little shits running the earth, just not appreciating anything because they don't know the first. They don't understand W. I mean, work. That work builds character. I mean,
I thought we were talking about Bush. I was like, nobody understood W.
No, don't get me started there. It is good to work, and it is good to go out and decide that you want something great, that you created a responsibility, and it is good to go out and work to achieve it. And that's you appreciate what you work for.
I'm going to need that clip.
Oh my! I feel like I'm being, and I'm being real because I'm sitting there going, he's trying to set me up, but I'll stand by my words because that's why I don't try and lie, because I ain't got to remember it, and if it gets thrown back in my face,
there's too much going on to remember the lies.
Wow. Okay. We are going to wrap this up. Yeah, 37 minutes. We're starting to get these under control.
Minutes. I feel like that one was pretty good.
Exactly. Okay. All right. Well, that concludes this episode. So until next time, we will see you guys later.